Hey, what's good, fam? It's Kyle Henderson of Bama Football. Definitely hit the thumbs up, like, subscribe. Let's talk about spring football going into Monday, April 10th. I wanted to be transparent with you also. I'm sure a lot of you guys are wondering about the YouTube channel. I now outright own the YouTube channel. I mutually parted ways with On3. We left on good terms, have all the respect in the world for On3 and their CEO, Shannon Terry. I think they are absolutely going to continue to be the forefront of this space and just have all the respect for all those guys. Andrew Bone, Clint Lamb, Jimmy Stein, Joseph Hastings. You'll see those guys probably on the YouTube channel as well going forward. I mean, those guys do such an incredible job, and I'm still such a huge fan of On3. For me, it just made more sense to run the Alabama Football YouTube channel. It's something that I built from the ground up. So it's something that's very close to me, and I really enjoy getting back on here and talking Alabama football. With that said, let's talk about spring football and what we learned following Alabama's first scrimmage of this spring football season. Again, A-Day is coming up here pretty soon, and the storyline going into the season, as you know, revolves around the quarterback, right? People want to know if it's Jalen Milroe or Ty Simpson, and I think we have to look back to last season and saw that Jalen Milroe was the number 2 quarterback. And with Bryce Young leaving, that's going to leave a space for this quarterback position to be taken over. And you look at the legacy that this quarterback position now has, right? You look to the guys from the past and who's going to be that next guy to step up to lead Alabama's quarterback unit. And it's exciting because you also have a new offensive coordinator and you have some very talented younger freshmen coming in at the quarterback position. And from what we gathered during the first scrimmage is that each of the quarterbacks fared very well. And I'm talking about Jalen Milroe and Ty Simpson. And we did hear some good things about Holstein as well. And I don't think it's really cut and dry in terms of who is going to be that first-team quarterback just yet. I think there's people out there, like I even got a message on Facebook that says, you have some narrative to make Jalen Milroe the quarterback, specifically talking to me. I don't. Look, I feel that the best quarterback is going to play, period. Nick Saban has always done a great job to make sure that the best player does play. And whether that is Jalen Milroe or Ty Simpson or, who knows, one of these freshmen, then so be it. Point is that these quarterbacks need to continue to progress going into the season because it is a monumental takeover replacing Bryce Young. You're looking at someone who potentially is the number 1 pick in the NFL draft. You just don't swap in somebody at that quarterback position specifically and start to roll. I think Alabama fans are accustomed to just another quarterback coming in at this high level. Does Jalen Milroe, Ty Simpson, do they have that capability to play at that high level of a first-round draft pick? And that is something that has really been the forefront of Alabama's offense over the last couple years. Yeah, I think we've looked at the offensive coordinator position. We've looked at the talent on the outside. But really, it's been the quarterback. The quarterback has been the main drive and focus of this offense for the last several seasons. And I'd be hard-pressed if you argue against that because you look at the success that Jalen had, the success that Tua had, the success that Mac had, the success that Bryce had. That all comes from the quarterback. So that's why it's so imperative that Alabama has another quarterback that can compete at that high level. And I'm talking a first-round draft pick status. That's what Alabama needs at the quarterback position. So we'll continue to track that quarterback progress going into the rest of spring football and, of course, over the summer into the season. I think the biggest positive right now from the offensive perspective comes from the wide receivers. I wasn't impressed with the wide receiver play last year, and I think you probably felt the same way. This year, I already feel different. I feel that Ja'Cory Brooks is really starting to get the notoriety that he deserves. Look, Ja'Cory Brooks has been money in crunch time. We've seen him perform, so it's good to see him continue to get some headlines. I think the addition of Malik Benson is going to be fantastic. He's someone who can stretch the field on the outside. Isaiah Bond, Kobe Prentice, those guys are now sophomores, and we're hearing great things about Isaiah Bond. Isaiah Bond has that elite speed that you need on the outside or the inside as a slot receiver. So I think he's very versatile. And then I think, we continue to hear good things about Jermaine Burton. I mean, Saban said that Jermaine Burton had some big plays. during the scrimmage, and want to see that really translate to Saturdays. All right. I think there was times where Jermaine Burton was there and then he wasn't there. So, and that's not a knock on him. And that's not to say consistent, but maybe they just didn't get the ball to him consistently enough. And maybe that was on Bill O'Brien, on Bryce, who knows, but it's good to hear about the wide receivers going into the season, specifically at the springtime, because I think that's really an area that they needed to really tighten up and kind of get back to that mantra of having these guys who just had elite speed. And, yeah, I'm really, really pleased with that aspect. Let's talk about the running back position. Haven't really heard a lot about Jace McClellan just yet. He was injured last year, and that's not to say that things aren't going well for him. I think he's the number one running back right now at Alabama. And then you have Roydell Williams, who is healthy. Coach Saban said that. And then you have Jamarion Miller, who is now a sophomore. Saw some really good things from him during Alabama's Sugar Bowl performance against Kansas State. Continue to hear good things about Justice Haynes. Look, I know he's a freshman, but heard he had some really good plays during the first scrimmage. And I think he ripped off one for over 30 yards or something like that. That's what everybody is talking about. So that is really good news. At the tight end position, C.J. Dupree, Amari Niblack, Robbie Oots is back from an injury. Haven't heard too much about the tight end play just yet. However, Tommy Rees at Notre Dame did a really great job working with those tight ends and making sure that they caught the football. If you watch Notre Dame, Michael Myers, who was a very talented tight end, got the football a lot. Now, can C.J. Dupree or Amari Niblack play at that level? Can Alabama utilize those guys at that level? I guess we're going to have to see in time. The offensive line should be solid, and they're massive. That's probably the biggest thing. J.C. Latham is going to anchor that group. Has a lot of experience now as a junior. The center position looks like it'd probably be Seth McLaughlin. You also have Darian Dalcourt, who is returning. Tyler Booker got a lot of playing time. But you look at some of these younger guys who are coming in. Caden Proctor is just an absolute beast. Hearing some things about him and just kind of that size that now Eric Wolford is working with from that offensive perspective. Let's switch gears to the defensive side. I think the defense, the biggest headline so far going in is the play of Caleb Downs as a freshman, right? Like, freshmen don't play at Alabama. Well, Caleb Downs, I mean, if you look at our lads, and we're not supposed to talk about the depth chart, I always think that's hilarious, but Caleb Downs looks like a guy who can play day one. You've seen the footage of him. You've seen the speed. And we continue to hear just great things from him. Now, where is he going to start in the secondary, or where could he potentially start? It looks like he could start at, maybe that star position, free safety. So let's track Caleb Downs and see what he can do. And we put these high expectations on these freshmen. Like, if they don't start, they're not good. If you're starting or even getting mentioned as a potential starter or one or two at Alabama, that's phenomenal during your freshman season. So let's go easy on Caleb, but we are hearing great things about him. Up front in the defense, another big headline is the health of Justin Ebogbe. And hearing that he's 100% cleared is great. I've been a big fan of Justin Ebogbe. I think he has the size and athleticism to really be a dominant force for Alabama. And it's been great to hear about Alabama's linebackers, that some of these younger guys have gotten some notoriety from Coach Saban. Coach Saban mentioned Trez Marshall. He also mentioned Jaheed Campbell, Keanu Coote. A lot of these guys getting some experience during the spring season, which I think is great, because right now you have two injuries during the springtime, Deontay Lawson and Dallas Turner. Those guys are big-time players, probably NFL-type players. Of course, Dallas Turner is, probably Deontay Lawson, of course. So seeing that other guys are starting to step up is really great to hear. Haven't heard too much on Kendrick Blackshire or Jeremiah Alexander just yet. And of course you have Chris Broswell, right? Like, that's a really dangerous linebacking unit. And a lot of these guys have to prove themselves on the field, replacing now Henry Toto and William Anderson within that linebacker unit. Kool-Aid, JaQuincy McKinstry will be your corner. I think he's going to have a stellar season. Waiting to hear more about some of these other guys in the secondary. Christian Story looks like he could potentially get a shot. And then you have Terrion Arnold and, of course, Malachi Moore. So there are some familiar names coming back, replacing a very veteran group in that secondary group that Alabama had from 2022. Special teams wise, you return Will Reichert. And from what we gathered during that scrimmage, Will Reichert was Will Reichert. He was hitting some big field goals. And I know when you think about Will Reichert, you might think about that miss against Tennessee. But overall, he's had a very, very steady career at the University of Alabama. And I think when you look at the college football landscape, he is going to be one of the most highly coveted kickers that is returning in college football. And I think that is a huge asset for the University of Alabama going forward, is having your kicker that is returning. And Will Reichert, I think Alabama and probably Nick Saban would say that they have all the confidence in the world in Will Reichert. So I just wanted to jump on and talk about some spring football content, some spring football news as we go into Monday. You have players today at 1 p.m. and then we are going to get to hear from Nick Saban today. We're going to hear from him twice this week. So we'll bring that those press conferences right here to our YouTube channel. Hit the thumbs up, like, subscribe. If you want to continue to support our YouTube channel, you can hit the join button at the bottom of this video. Again, I am now independent and I run this YouTube channel. This is my livelihood. And I appreciate you guys being supportive of the YouTube channel. We appreciate, all the hard work is out there in the Alabama space. I mean, when you think about all the guys that are doing such a great job, it's really a phenomenal group. When you look across the landscape from On3, Rivals, 24/7, Touchdown Alabama, AL.com, there's so many very talented workers in this industry. So, rubbing elbows with some of those guys and getting to know some of those guys throughout my career has been really, really fantastic. And those guys do such a fantastic job out there. And just wanted to, quickly give some kudos to everyone who is covering Alabama football out there, because there is a lot of people, putting in the work to cover the Alabama football team. Coming to you from Tuscaloosa, Alabama, my name is Kyle Henderson. Hit the thumbs up, like, subscribe. We'll catch up with you soon right here on Bama Football on YouTube.